Is our universe just one page in an infinite cosmic library? This is the profound question at the heart of the multiverse, a concept that shatters everything we thought we knew about reality. We are about to embark on a journey through 50 shocking secrets, each one a revelation that challenges the very nature of existence. You will uncover how every choice you make creates a new universe, why you have infinite doppelgangers living other lives, and whether the ghosts of physics like dark energy are actually leaks from other cosmic domains. We will explore if dreams are windows to parallel lives, and if the eerie silence of space is proof we are not alone, but simply isolated in our own cosmic bubble. By the end, your understanding of reality will be transformed forever. What single idea about the multiverse makes you question your own existence the most? We begin with a secret that rewrites the very definition of reality. In 1957, a brilliant physicist named Hugh Everett III proposed a radical idea, one so profound it was largely ignored for decades. This is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. It suggests that every single quantum event, every tiny flicker of possibility, does not simply collapse into one outcome. Instead, the entire universe splits every time a particle can go left or right. Every time you face a choice, from the monumental to the mundane, the cosmos branches. Your reality is not a single path but a constantly forking tree of every possibility that ever was. Think of it like a vast video game where every dialogue option is selected. Every path is explored, not by reloading a save, but by creating entirely new game worlds that continue on independently. This means a version of you exists for every road not taken, every word left unsaid. The implications for free will and destiny are staggering. If every choice creates a new universe, then your will is absolute, your decisions carving out entire cosmic histories. Yet, you are also forever separated from the infinite other yous living out the consequences of every alternative. This is not merely a theory about particles. It is a declaration that our existence is a single thread in an ever-expanding tapestry of what could be. That single thread of your existence is just one possibility in an endless sea of others. This leads to the second staggering secret, that you have infinite doppelgangers living out every conceivable life right now. For every path you did not take, a parallel universe exists where you did. In one reality, you are a celebrated rock star performing for a roaring crowd. In another, you are an astronaut gazing at Earth from the window of a space station. A version of you might be a renowned scientist, while another is living a quiet, simple life in a small town you have never even visited. These are not just fantasies, they are actual universes, born from the endless branching of quantum possibilities and the choices you make. The very fabric of reality forks not only at major life decisions but at every microscopic moment. A single different thought, a delayed step that causes you to miss a bus, a chance encounter with a stranger. Each of these mundane events is a branch point, spawning a new universe where a different version of you experiences the consequences. Think about a moment you almost stumbled but caught your balance. In another world, you fell, and that single event altered your health, your relationships, your entire future. All of those versions are equally real, their lives unfolding in perfect parallel to your own. You are surrounded by an infinity of yourself, a cosmic hall of mirrors reflecting every dream, every fear, and every road not taken. This raises a profound and deeply personal question. Which of these lives is the real you, or are they all equally authentic expressions of your potential? This profound isolation among your infinite selves forces us to confront the great silence surrounding our own world. The cosmos should be teeming with alien civilizations, so why do we hear nothing at all? This is the Fermi Paradox, the perplexing question of where everybody is, and the multiverse offers a startling solution. Intelligent life may be abundant, even commonplace, but it is permanently isolated in its own separate cosmic bubble, just as we are. We are not alone in the grand scheme of existence. We are simply alone in this particular universe, unable to receive signals or make contact across the fundamental barriers of reality. This idea is both deeply comforting and utterly terrifying. It comforts because it suggests there is no great filter, no single catastrophic event that wipes out all advanced life before it can spread. Civilizations may thrive for eons in their own universes, yet it terrifies because it implies a fundamental loneliness written into the laws of physics, a cosmic quarantine from which there is no escape. Our radio telescopes scan the void in vain, not because no one is out there, but because everyone is out there in their own parallel existence. Every possible civilization, from a galaxy-spanning empire to a species that never left its home world, is playing out its destiny in a universe of its own. We are all islands in an archipelago of realities, forever separated by an uncrossable sea. So the answer to where everybody is simple. They are everywhere, just not here. This cosmic quarantine may have a physical cause, a force so strange it seems to defy the very laws of our universe. The greatest puzzle in modern cosmology is dark energy, the mysterious something causing the expansion of our cosmos to accelerate at an ever-increasing rate. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, yet its effects are undeniable, pushing galaxies apart on a scale so vast it determines the ultimate fate of everything. But what if this force is not from our universe at all? A shocking and controversial hypothesis suggests dark energy is a leak, a ghostly influence seeping into our reality from the infinite universes bordering our own. Think of our cosmos as one room in an endless, bubbling foam of universes. The walls between these rooms are not perfectly solid. They are membranes that can subtly flex and vibrate, allowing the fundamental force of gravity to bleed through from one reality into the next. In our universe, we perceive this faint, incoming gravitational push as a repulsive force, a cosmic pressure inflating our space like a balloon. This idea turns our understanding inside out. The mystery of dark energy is not a problem with the ingredients of our own universe, but a symptom of our existence within a much larger, crowded multiverse. We are feeling the breath of other cosmic domains on the back of our neck. This provides an elegant, if unsettling, solution to one of physics' biggest headaches. It explains why dark energy is so incredibly weak and yet so pervasive, a faint signal from a sea of realities just beyond our perception. The force that is tearing our own universe apart might just be the gentle nudge of our infinite neighbors. This ghostly pressure from other realities forces us to reconsider the very nature of time itself. If the walls between universes are porous, could we ever step through them, and what would we find on the other side? The fifth shocking secret reveals that time travel is entirely possible, just not within the confines of your own universe. The key lies in navigating the multiverse. Within a single cosmic domain like ours, the laws of physics seem to erect a one-way street for time, preventing any return to the past. But when you introduce the infinite variety of parallel worlds, the rules change completely. You could enter a universe where time flows at a drastically different rate, or even one where the arrow of time points in the opposite direction. This is not the time travel of science fiction, with paradoxes where you might prevent your own birth. This is a journey across realities, not just through years. The physics behind this involves something called a closed time-like curve. In simple terms, this is a path through the fabric of space and time that theoretically allows an object to return to its own starting point in both space and in time, creating a loop. In our universe, such loops are thought to be impossible without tearing reality apart. But in the grander landscape of the multiverse, these loops might not close within one universe. Instead, they could connect to a different universe entirely. Imagine a cosmic subway system. You want to go back to yesterday, but the train line in your own city is out of service. So you take a train to a completely different city, one that just happens to be experiencing the day you left behind. You have not changed your own past, you have simply arrived in a parallel world where the local time matches the moment you wish to revisit. This means every possible past is still out there, preserved in its own universe, frozen like a museum exhibit of what could have been. You could visit a world where the dinosaurs never went extinct, or one where a different outcome to a historical event unfolded. You are not rewriting history, you are simply touring it. The past is not a place you can return to in your own world, but it is a destination you can reach in another. So the dream of time travel is not dead, it is just infinitely more vast and complex than we ever imagined. Our own cosmic beginning was not a unique event. The Big Bang was not the first bang, and it will certainly not be the last. It was simply our local genesis, one eruption in an endless cosmic cascade. This is the vision of eternal inflation, a theory that paints our entire universe as a single bubble in a foaming, frothing sea of reality. This primordial realm, called the inflaton field, is a state of pure, hypercharged energy, forever restless and eternally fertile. In this seething ocean, new universes are constantly being born. A random fluctuation in the field, a tiny patch of space that drops to a lower energy state, can trigger a runaway expansion, inflating at a speed far beyond light to become an entire cosmos in its own right. This is our Big Bang, not a singular beginning of everything, but a local event, the moment our particular bubble nucleated and began its own internal history. And this process is happening everywhere all the time. For every bubble that forms, the greater inflaton field outside it continues its relentless expansion, providing an infinite substrate for an infinite number of new bangs. Picture a pot of boiling water on a stove that never turns off. Our universe is one single bubble that rose to the surface, popped into existence, and began to cool. But the pot keeps boiling, with countless other bubbles forming, rising, and creating their own worlds with their own laws of physics. Some bubbles might have stronger nuclear forces, making stars burn out in a cosmic blink. Others might have no gravity at all, a formless soup of particles. Each one is a separate experiment in reality. This means the cosmos is not just vast in space, but also in time, with no true beginning and no conceivable end. The question of what happened before the Big Bang is answered with a simple, staggering truth. There was an endless, bubbling multiverse, and our bang was just one event among an infinite number of others. This very feeling of being you, the stream of your conscious experience, might not be locked inside your skull. Some of the most daring theories in physics and philosophy suggest that your mind is not a local phenomenon. It could be a bridge, a receiver, or even a shared entity existing across the vast expanse of the multiverse. This is the quantum mind hypothesis, a concept that merges the mystery of consciousness with the bizarre rules of the quantum world. At its heart is a question that has baffled scientists for centuries. How does the physical lump of gray matter in our heads produce the rich, internal movie of thoughts, feelings, and sensations that we call the self? Quantum mechanics, with its particles that exist in multiple states at once until observed, might hold a clue. What if our consciousness is not merely a bystander watching the quantum world collapse into a single reality, but an active participant that is itself spread across those multiple states? In this view, every decision you make, every thought you have, is not a single event. It is the outcome of a conversation, or perhaps a vote, among your countless parallel minds. Each version of you in a different universe contributes to a single, cohesive conscious experience. Your sense of a unified self is the final result, the consensus reached across infinite realities. This could explain one of the most common and eerie human experiences, déjà vu. That sudden, unshakable feeling that you have lived this exact moment before might not be a glitch in your memory. It could be a fleeting moment of resonance, a brief overlap with the conscious experience of another you in a nearly identical universe. You are not remembering your own past, you are tapping into the present moment of a parallel self, experiencing their reality for just a split second before your own timeline reasserts itself. Think of a radio picking up a faint signal from a distant station on the same frequency. For a moment, two songs play at once, creating a confusing, layered experience. Déjà vu might be the static and overlap of parallel consciousnesses briefly tuning into each other. If this is true, then you are far more than the person you see in the mirror. You are the focal point of an infinite network of minds, all sharing the core identity of you, yet living out every possible permutation of your life. The you reading this is just the one currently tuned into this specific channel of reality. The sense of a unified self across realities hinges on a delicate balance, a set of rules so perfect it allowed for your consciousness to emerge in the first place. But what if those rules were not written in stone? The eighth shocking secret reveals that the laws of physics are not universal commands, they are more like local ordinances. The fundamental constants that govern our reality, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, might be random, frozen accidents from the moment our cosmic bubble formed. In the endless foam of the multiverse, each universe gets its own unique set of numbers. Our universe seems fine-tuned for life because if these constants were even slightly different, we would not be here to observe them. Imagine a vast cosmic lottery with an infinite number of tickets. Each ticket is a new universe printed with a random combination of physical laws. Most tickets are losers. They describe realities where atoms cannot form, where stars never ignite, or where everything collapses into black holes in an instant. Our universe just happened to draw the winning numbers, the one combination out of countless possibilities that allows for galaxies, planets, and conscious life to exist. The speed of light is not a universal speed limit, it is our local speed limit. In another universe, light might crawl along at a snail's pace, or travel so fast that causality and time themselves break down. The force of gravity in our world is just strong enough to pull matter together into stars and planets, but weak enough to allow those stars to spread apart and form complex structures. In a universe with slightly stronger gravity, everything would have collapsed back on itself immediately after the Big Bang, resulting in a brief, crushing existence. In a universe with weaker gravity, matter would never have clumped together at all, leaving a permanent, thin fog of atoms with no stars, no planets, and no one to wonder about it. This means the reality we take for granted is profoundly fragile and unbelievably rare. We do not live in a universe designed for life. We live in the one universe by pure chance that permitted it. The very laws we use to understand the cosmos are not fundamental truths. They are simply the house rules for our particular corner of the multiverse. The very fragility of our cosmic rules suggests there must be pathways to realities governed by entirely different laws. Deep within the most destructive places in our universe may lie the ultimate escape routes. Black holes, long thought to be cosmic dead ends where matter and light are crushed into oblivion, could actually be gateways, according to a theory stretching back to Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen. The terrifying singularity at a black hole's heart might not be a final destination. Instead, it could be a tunnel, an Einstein-Rosen bridge connecting our spacetime to another. This is the wormhole, a theoretical shortcut through the multiverse. Think of our universe as one sheet of paper in an infinite stack. A black hole punches a hole through our page, and its tunnel or wormhole emerges as a white hole in another universe entirely, spewing out everything it swallowed in ours. This white hole would be the opposite of a black hole, a point in space where matter and energy can only exit, never enter. While we have never observed a white hole, the math suggests they are a natural counterpart to this cosmic plumbing. The work of physicists like Lee Smolin takes this idea even further, proposing a process of cosmic natural selection. In this stunning hypothesis, when a black hole forms a new universe on the other side of its singularity, that baby universe inherits its physical constants, its laws of physics with slight random variations. Universes that are better at producing black holes become more numerous in the multiverse, as each black hole gives birth to another cosmos. Our own universe, with its perfect balance for stars and galaxies, might be so prolific because it is fine-tuned for making black holes, the very engines of cosmic reproduction. This means the terrifying maw of a black hole is not a grave but a womb. Falling into one would still be fatal, stretching any object into a stream of atoms in a process called spaghettification. But the information that made you, the unique arrangement of your particles, could, in theory, be transmitted into a new reality, seeding a new existence in a cosmos with potentially different fundamental rules. The most destructive force in our universe might just be the most creative force in the multiverse. This cosmic lottery of physical laws leads us directly to the 10th and perhaps most humbling secret. The universe appears perfectly designed for life, not through any grand plan, but for the simple, undeniable reason that we are here to observe it. This is the anthropic principle, a powerful idea that finds its ultimate expression within the infinite multiverse. We are not the purpose of the cosmos, we are a consequence of its random variety. The conditions in our universe seem fine-tuned because in the vast majority of other universes, the conditions are so hostile that life is impossible, and therefore no one is there to be disappointed. We are the cosmic lottery winners, living in the one reality where the numbers came up just right. Consider the force that holds atomic nuclei together, the strong nuclear force. If it were just a few % weaker, protons could not bond and complex atoms would never form. The universe would be a featureless sea of hydrogen. If it were slightly stronger, protons would fuse too easily, burning up all the hydrogen in the early universe and leaving no fuel for stars like our Sun. In either case, no planets, no chemistry, no life. Our existence depends on this force being balanced on a razor's edge. The same is true for the amount of dark energy. If there were significantly more, the universe would have expanded so rapidly that galaxies and stars could never have coalesced. If there were less, gravity would have caused the entire cosmos to collapse back on itself long before life could evolve. We find ourselves in a universe with a seemingly perfect amount, but this is not evidence of design. It is evidence of a selection effect. We could only ever find ourselves in a universe capable of producing us. All the other, far more numerous universes where the numbers do not work are empty of observers, silent and dark. So when we look up at the starry sky and marvel at its apparent perfection, we are not seeing a universe made for us. We are simply gazing out the window of the only room in an infinite hotel that we could possibly inhabit. The same spooky connection that Einstein himself questioned might be a whisper from a parallel world. We have all heard of quantum entanglement, this bizarre phenomenon where two particles become linked, and whatever happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are in our universe. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, a ghostly link that seemed to violate the cosmic speed limit of light. But what if this spookiness has a simple, if mind-bending, explanation? What if entangled particles are not two separate things at all, but a single entity that exists simultaneously in two different universes? Imagine a single coin. In our universe, you see only the head side. In a parallel universe right next to ours, an observer sees only the tail side. When you flip the coin in your world, the observer in the other world instantly sees their side flip as well. There is no signal traveling through space because the coin itself is one object straddling two realities. This is the core of the idea. The reason measuring one entangled particle instantly determines the state of its partner is because they are fundamentally the same particle, its existence smeared across the thin boundary between two adjacent cosmic bubbles. Every time physicists perform an entanglement experiment, they might not be creating a link, but simply pinning down one end of a reality-spanning object. This explains the instantaneous communication without breaking any speed limits, because no information is actually traveling. It is like two people on opposite sides of a curtain, both touching the same elephant. If one person feels the trunk, they know instantly that the other is not touching the tail. The knowledge is simultaneous because they are interacting with different parts of a single, unified whole. This transforms entanglement from a strange quantum quirk into a profound clue about the architecture of the multiverse. The particles in your lab are not just tiny specks of matter, they are bridges, their very existence proving that the walls between worlds are not as solid as they appear. This endless branching of your existence leads to a concept so unnerving it redefines the very meaning of death. In an infinite multiverse, there is always at least one reality stream where you survive any conceivable catastrophe. This is the theory of quantum immortality, and its implications are both liberating and deeply haunting. Imagine you are in a car accident, a moment of pure chance where the outcome is not predetermined. The universe splits. In one branch, the car swerves and you walk away unharmed. In another, the crash is fatal. From your own subjective perspective, which is the only one you can ever experience, you will always find yourself in a timeline where you did not die. You are, from your own point of view, effectively immortal. Your consciousness simply follows the path of continuous existence, hopping from one reality to the next, forever bypassing the branches where your life ends. This is not a magical resurrection, but a statistical certainty born from infinite possibilities. You would not cheat death, you would just never encounter your own. The philosophical ramifications are staggering. What does it mean for a life to have value if it never truly ends from your own perspective? Would you become an observer to an endless, perhaps lonely, sequence of near misses and improbable survivals, watching as the world around you changes in increasingly strange ways with each brush with mortality? This idea forces us to confront a terrifying possibility. The quiet, peaceful death of old age that we often hope for might, in this view, be an illusion. Your conscious experience might simply continue into a universe where medical science found one more cure, where one more cellular repair was possible, extending your life indefinitely. You would never experience the finality of death, only its perpetual avoidance. This is not a comforting promise of eternal life, but a dizzying prospect of an existence without end, where you are the one constant in an ever-shifting cosmos of your own potential. It suggests that the end you fear may be something you are fundamentally incapable of witnessing. These ancient whispers across time suggest our ancestors were grappling with ideas far ahead of their scientific tools. The 13th shocking secret proposes that ancient civilizations might have already known about the multiverse, their myths and sacred texts preserving an intuitive understanding of parallel realities. Consider the intricate cosmology of ancient Hinduism, which describes not one, but countless layers of existence known as lokas. These are not merely different planets or heavens, but distinct planes of reality, each with its own laws and beings, existing simultaneously and often inaccessible to one another. This is not a simple description of an afterlife, but a complex, multi-tiered architecture of existence that resonates deeply with the modern concept of a bubble multiverse. Across the world, the Greek philosopher Plato described his theory of forms. He proposed that the physical world we perceive is just a shadow, a flawed copy of a perfect, non-physical realm of ideal forms. The chair you see is an imperfect imitation of the perfect, essential form of a chair. Could this be an ancient way of describing how our universe is just one specific, concrete instance of reality, while an infinite number of other, more perfect or simply different versions exist in a parallel domain of pure potential? Even the Norse world tree, Yggdrasil, can be seen in a new light. Its 9 realms, connected by the branches and roots of a cosmic tree, are not arranged in a simple up and down hierarchy. They are separate worlds sustained by the same source yet distinct, a stunning mythological parallel to the many worlds interpretation where branches represent diverging timelines. These are not coincidences, they are the human mind armed with observation and deep contemplation, trying to make sense of a reality that science is only now beginning to map with mathematics. Our ancestors looked inward and upward, and what they brought back were stories that now seem less like superstition and more like prophecy. They sensed the vastness, the plurality of existence, and encoded it in the only language they had, the language of myth and symbol. This forces a profound question: were these ancient seers merely imaginative, or were they tapping into a fundamental truth about the cosmos? A truth we are only now rediscovering with particle accelerators and telescopes. That strange, vivid dream you had last night might have been more than just a story your brain told itself. What if it was a memory? The 14th secret dares to suggest that our dreams are not random neurological noise, but fleeting windows into the lives of our parallel selves. In the quiet theater of your mind, you might be catching glimpses of other realities, experiences bleeding through the thin walls between universes. Think of the most jarring dream you have ever had, one where you were living a completely different life, with a different job, different friends, or even in a different era. It felt real, didn't it? Saturated with details and emotions that a simple fantasy often lacks. This is the provocative hypothesis that these experiences are actual sensory data, fragments of memory from another version of you leaking into your sleeping consciousness. The scientific underpinning for this wild idea comes from the same quantum strangeness that allows for parallel universes in the first place. If our consciousness is indeed a quantum phenomenon spread across multiple realities, then it is not a huge leap to think that during sleep, when the brain's filtering mechanisms are lowered, signals from these other selves could slip through. Your brain, trying to make sense of this alien information, weaves it into the narrative structure of a dream. This could explain common dream phenomena with startling clarity. That intense sensation of falling just as you drift off could be the sudden death of another you in a parallel world, a traumatic event creating a powerful psychic shockwave. Recurring dreams might be persistent, strong connections to a particular alternate life that holds significant emotional weight for your broader, multiversal self. And what about precognitive dreams, those incredibly rare but well-documented instances where people dream of an event before it happens? This would not be seeing the future, but simply tuning into a universe that is slightly ahead of your own on the same timeline, witnessing an event that is about to occur in a nearly identical reality. The implications are staggering. Every night, as you close your eyes, you are not just resting, you are embarking on a chaotic tour of your own infinite existence. You are visiting the you that became a chef in Paris, the you that never moved away from your hometown, the you that made one different choice on a rainy afternoon 10 years ago. This transforms the nature of dreaming from a solitary psychological event into a communal experience with yourself. It means you are never truly alone, even in your most private moments, because you are constantly, unconsciously, sharing your life with an infinity of others. You remember the Berenstain Bears, right? The beloved children's book family. Except a vast number of people swear on their childhood memories that it was always spelled Berenstein with an E. This is not a simple mistake. It is a widespread collective certainty about a past that seemingly never existed. This is the Mandela effect, named for the countless individuals who vividly recall news reports of Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s, an event that in our documented timeline never occurred. These are not just faulty memories, they feel too real, too shared to be dismissed so easily. What if these collective glitches are not failures of recall, but evidence of a successful journey? The theory suggests that small groups of people, perhaps even entire communities, can subtly shift from one parallel universe to another, a universe almost identical to our own but with a few tiny, jarring differences. In the universe you came from, the classic movie line was always, "Luke, I am your father." But in this universe, it has always been, "No, I am your father." The logo on a popular product has one less curlicue. A cartoon character never wore that specific accessory you so clearly remember. These are not changes to history, but proof that you have always been in a slightly different version of it. Think of the multiverse as a vast forest of near-identical trees. You are a squirrel hopping from one branch to another. The branches are so close together that you do not even notice the jump at first. But then you see a pine cone that looks slightly different, and you realize you are on a different tree altogether. The Mandela effect is that moment of realization, the collective shudder when a large group of squirrels all notice the strange pinecone at the same time. This implies that our reality is not a fixed monolithic structure. It is a fluid, dynamic landscape, and we are not permanent residents of a single timeline, but gentle drifters in a sea of almost identical worlds. So the next time you and a friend share a baffled look over a detail that does not match your memory, consider the incredible possibility that your pasts were simply woven in slightly different cosmic fabrics. This constant, silent creation of new worlds is not a relic of the ancient past. The breathtakingly rapid expansion that jump-started our universe, the event we call cosmic inflation, never actually stopped. It is still happening right now, everywhere around us, in the greater multiverse beyond our cosmic horizon. Our entire observable universe is just one small bubble that formed and cooled in this eternally inflating background. The vacuum of space outside our bubble is not truly empty. It is a seething, hyper-energetic state called the false vacuum, and it is constantly undergoing its own exponential expansion faster than the speed of light. Within this endlessly stretching fabric, random quantum fluctuations provide the seeds for new bubbles to nucleate, just like carbonation fizzing in a never-ending glass of soda. Each of these bubbles is a new Big Bang, a new universe with its own random set of physical laws, pinwheeling off into its own isolated existence. This is the theory of eternal inflation, and it is one of the leading frameworks cosmologists use to make sense of our origins. The evidence for this staggering idea is written across the oldest light we can see, the cosmic microwave background. This faint afterglow from the infancy of our universe is remarkably smooth and uniform, with only tiny, random variations in temperature. These variations are the quantum seeds, magnified by inflation into the gravitational wells that would eventually form every galaxy, star, and planet we see today. The pattern of this light matches the predictions of an inflationary beginning with stunning precision, suggesting our universe did indeed undergo a period of ultra-fast expansion. But if inflation can start one universe and the math suggests it is inherently eternal, then our entire cosmic history is just a single chapter in a story with no beginning and no end. We are living inside a single spark from an infinite, everlasting fountain of reality, forever cut off from the endless firework display of creation happening just beyond the veil of space. The very fabric of reality might be running on a code we are only beginning to decipher. This leads to the 17th staggering secret that the entire multiverse could be one colossal quantum computer, processing every possible outcome as a form of cosmic calculation. This idea, emerging from the intersection of digital physics and quantum theory, suggests that the fundamental building blocks of existence are not tiny strings or particles, but bits of information. Space, time, matter, and energy are all manifestations of a deeper, informational substrate, a cosmic program executing at the most fundamental level. Think of our universe not as a physical place, but as an incredibly detailed and immersive simulation. Now, expand that thought to include every single possible variation of that simulation, all running simultaneously on the same ultimate hardware. This is the multiverse as a quantum computer, where each parallel reality is a separate thread being processed in a vast parallel computation. the bizarre rules of quantum mechanics, where particles exist in multiple states at once, fit perfectly into this framework. This is not a bug in our reality, it is a feature of the system. A quantum computer works by leveraging superposition, the ability of a quantum bit or qubit to be both a 1 and a 0 at the same time. It explores all possible solutions to a problem concurrently. Now scale that up to a cosmic level. The multiverse is not just calculating one outcome, it is calculating every single possible outcome for every single possible event, from the spin of an electron to the rise and fall of civilizations. Your life, with all its choices and branching paths, is simply one of the countless computations being run. This reframes the simulation hypothesis in a breathtaking new light. We are not necessarily living in a simulation built by advanced beings in a higher reality, though that remains a possibility. Instead, reality itself may be inherently computational. The laws of physics are the algorithms, and the constants of nature are the fixed parameters of the program. The Big Bang was the system booting up, and the ongoing expansion of the universe is the relentless execution of its code. This means that every decision you make is not creating a new universe out of nothing, but simply activating a pre-existing computational pathway within the infinite memory of the cosmos. You are both the user and the program, living a life that is being computed in real time, alongside an infinity of other versions of yourself. The question then shifts from whether we are in a simulation to a far more profound one. What is the nature of the hardware running this ultimate simulation, and could we ever hope to catch a glimpse of its source code? That strange chill you feel in an old house might not be a draft but a door. Ghostly apparitions, phantom sounds, and unexplained poltergeist activity have haunted humanity for centuries, dismissed as superstition or tricks of the mind. But the multiverse offers a startlingly scientific alternative, that these phenomena are not the spirits of the dead, but brief, unstable intersections with other realities. Think of the multiverse as a vast apartment building, with each universe a separate unit. Normally, the walls are thick and soundproof, but sometimes, due to quantum fluctuations or sheer cosmic coincidence, the walls between two nearly identical universes grow thin, and for a fleeting moment they overlap. In that instant, you are not seeing a ghost, you are seeing a person from a parallel world, going about their life in a reality that almost perfectly mirrors your own. A figure you see walking through a wall in your home might be simply walking through a doorway in theirs, the architecture of the two realities momentarily fused. The object that seems to fly off a shelf on its own could be the result of a person in that other world bumping into their furniture, the force bleeding through the weakened barrier. This is not a supernatural event, but a natural, if rare, consequence of a crowded cosmos. The eerie feeling of being watched could be the subtle, unconscious awareness that another version of you, in a nearly identical room, is also present, their existence brushing against your own consciousness. This framework transforms the paranormal from a question of spirituality into one of physics. It explains why these events are so fleeting and impossible to reproduce, because the alignment of two cosmic bubbles is a temporary and unstable phenomenon. It also explains why some locations seem to be hotspots for this activity, perhaps because the underlying quantum fabric of space in that area is inherently thinner or more prone to vibration, like a weak spot in the wall of our reality. The next time you hear a floorboard creak in an empty house, consider the incredible possibility that the house is not empty at all, but that you are momentarily sharing your space with a neighbor from an adjacent dimension, both of you equally confused by the faint, ghostly sounds of the other. The walls between our reality and others may be thin, but the structure containing them is infinitely complex. The 19th shocking secret reveals the multiverse is not just a chaotic foam of bubbles, but possesses a deep, underlying order. Its fundamental shape is a fractal, a pattern that repeats itself at every conceivable scale, from the unimaginably vast to the infinitesimally small. This is the cosmic equivalent of a Mandelbrot set, that famous mathematical image where every zoom reveals an endless cascade of intricate, self-similar detail. Our universe is not a unique bubble floating alone. It is one intricate swirl in an infinite cosmic pattern. This fractal geometry emerges directly from the mathematics that describe the birth of universes. The process of eternal inflation, that relentless stretching of the primordial vacuum, is not a smooth, uniform expansion. It is a turbulent, chaotic process where quantum fluctuations create new baby universes, and those baby universes themselves become inflating backgrounds for even more universes in an unending chain. Each bubble universe can, in its own internal space, host an entire new frothing sea of inflationary spacetime, which then spawns its own bubbles. It is universes within universes, a Russian nesting doll with no final doll to find. String theory adds another layer to this profound structure. It suggests the extra spatial dimensions it requires are not simply curled up, but are arranged in a vast landscape of possible configurations. Each valley in this landscape corresponds to a different set of physical laws, a different type of vacuum, and each of these can inflate into its own distinct cosmic bubble. The journey through this landscape is a fractal one, with every path branching into endless new possibilities. Picture a colossal snowflake forming in a winter storm. The overall structure is a hexagon, but as you look closer, you see every single arm of that hexagon is itself a smaller, perfect hexagon, and those are made of even smaller hexagons down to the molecular level. The multiverse is like that. The grand architecture of the whole is mirrored in the tiniest pocket of its existence. This means the universe you call home, with its hundreds of billions of galaxies, might itself be just one tiny element in the pattern of a far grander meta-universe. And within one of the atoms in your hand, the vibrating strings of energy that constitute it might, in their own hidden dimensional landscape, be hosting an entire inflationary cosmos of their own, complete with its own stars, planets, and perhaps even beings wondering about their place in an infinite fractal. You are living simultaneously at the largest of scales and the smallest, a necessary part of a pattern that has no beginning and no end. That infinite fractal pattern of reality guarantees one astonishing certainty: every story you have ever loved is a true story. The 20th secret reveals that in a cosmos of limitless possibilities, fiction is not a lie, it is a window. Every conceivable narrative, from the epic struggles in your favorite novel to the most outlandish science fiction plot, has already happened. They are not works of imagination, but historical accounts of events in some other universe. The book on your shelf is not a fabrication, it is a travelogue, a piece of reality tourism from a parallel world. Consider the classic tale of a hero's journey, a young farm boy who discovers a great power within himself and defeats a galactic empire. Somewhere in a universe with different physical laws that allow for something like the Force, that exact saga played out. The story we call Star Wars is a literal record of their history. The intricate political machinations of a fantasy novel, with its noble houses vying for a throne, is the documented sociology of a world where the seasons last for years. Even the most personal, quiet story about a person falling in love in a small town is the biography of another you, living a life with a slightly different cast of characters. This idea shatters the boundary between fiction and non-fiction. An author, when they sit down to write, is not creating something from nothing. They are tapping into the cosmic library, tuning their mind to receive faint signals from another reality, and translating that signal into words on a page. The feeling of inspiration, that sudden rush of a fully formed idea, might be the moment a connection is made. You are not just reading for entertainment, you are a kind of psychic historian studying the archives of existence. This transforms the purpose of art itself. A painting is not an interpretation, it is a photograph of a scene from another dimension. A symphony is the recording of a concert you can never attend. We are surrounded by artifacts from realities we can never physically visit, each one a gift from the infinite multiverse, allowing us to experience the lives and worlds of our cosmic neighbors. So the next time you lose yourself in a story, remember you are not escaping reality, you are visiting another one. What does your favorite book reveal about the universe it truly documents? Our own cosmic horizon is a final, absolute frontier. We gaze out at the most distant galaxies, their light stretched into faint infrared whispers, and we believe we are seeing the edge of everything. But this is an illusion. The cosmological horizon is not a wall at the end of the universe. It is simply the limit of our sight, a point beyond which light has not had enough time since the Big Bang to reach us. Yet the universe continues, vast and unseeable beyond that line. And according to eternal inflation, what lies beyond is not more of our own lonely cosmos, but an endless foam of other universe bubbles, each with its own Big Bang and its own laws of physics. We are trapped on a single island watching the ocean, while an infinite archipelago of other worlds lies forever over the curve of the sea. The most heartbreaking part is the acceleration. Dark energy is not just pushing our own galaxies apart, it is stretching the very fabric of space between our cosmic bubble and its neighbors at a rate that forever exceeds the speed of light. This means that even if we could travel at light speed for all of eternity, we could never reach another universe. The space between us is being created faster than we could ever hope to cross it. They are receding from us on a fundamental level. Their light will never reach us and ours will never reach them. We are in a state of permanent, perfect isolation. Think of a single lit window in a city on a foggy night. You can see your own room clearly, but the other buildings are completely shrouded in an impenetrable mist. You know the city is vast, you know other lights must be burning out there, but you are cut off, your world defined by that one illuminated square. Our observable universe is that single window, and the inflationary multiverse is the infinite fog-enshrouded city. This transforms the great silence of space into something even more profound. We are not just listening for a signal that never comes, we are separated from the cosmic conversation by an unbridgeable gulf in the very structure of reality. The horizon is not a boundary to be crossed, it is the ultimate veil, and the greatest secret it hides is that we are surrounded by an infinity of neighbors we can never meet. This chilling thought experiment pushes the idea of quantum immortality to its absolute, logical extreme. Imagine a device is built, a gun aimed at your head and triggered by the random decay of a single radioactive atom. In 1 second, the atom either decays or it does not, a perfect 50-50 quantum event. In the universe where it decays, the gun fires and you die instantly. But in the universe where it does not, the gun fails to fire and you remain alive. Now, repeat this experiment once every second for all eternity. From an outside observer's perspective, they would see a very unlucky version of you die in almost every single iteration. They would witness a corpse, but from your own subjective point of view, what would you experience? You would only ever find yourself in the branches of reality where the gun did not fire. You would hear a harmless click again and again and again forever. You would become a living paradox, witnessing an endless sequence of statistically impossible survivals, forever shielded from the finality of death by the simple fact that you cannot observe your own non-existence. This is the thought experiment known as quantum suicide. It is not a proposal for an actual experiment, but a stark philosophical tool designed to test the many worlds interpretation. If the multiverse is real, then your conscious experience is tied to the continuity of your existence, and it will always follow the path where that continuity is preserved, no matter how astronomically improbable that path becomes. You would find yourself in a universe that, to any outside observer, seems like a miraculous anomaly. the ethical boundaries of even contemplating such an idea are immediately apparent. It reduces life to a brutal cosmic lottery where death is a statistic observed by others, but never by the self. It suggests a form of immortality that is not a blessing, but a profound and lonely curse, trapping you in a reality that constantly defies the odds just to keep you conscious. This forces a deeply unsettling question about the nature of our own reality. Are we all, right now, the survivors of countless quantum events that should have killed us, living in the one timeline where we simply have not died yet? The ancient philosophical war between free will and determinism has no winner in a single universe, but the multiverse offers a breathtaking truce. On one hand, our universe appears to be a perfectly deterministic machine. If you knew the exact position and momentum of every single particle at the moment of the Big Bang, you could, in theory, calculate the entire future history of the cosmos, including every thought you will ever have. This is a clockwork reality where choice is an illusion, yet your deep, intuitive feeling that you are making real decisions is not a lie. The multiverse resolves this by letting both sides be correct. Each individual universe is deterministic, a single, unchangeable track, but the totality of existence is a symphony of freedom, where every possible choice is played out in full. Your feeling of making a choice is the sensation of your consciousness navigating this infinite branching structure. When you stand at a crossroads deciding whether to turn left or right, the universe does not force one outcome. It does not need to. Both outcomes are realized. In one deterministic branch, you turn left. In another, equally deterministic branch, you turn right. Your will is not about changing a single, fixed future, but about selecting which of the infinite, pre-existing futures you will personally experience. This is the ultimate form of free will, the power to define your own path through the cosmic labyrinth of what is possible. You are not a puppet on a single string. You are the rider on a train that splits at every switch, and your choices determine which destination out of an infinite number you will call home. So the next time you wrestle with a difficult decision, remember that you are not trying to guess one correct answer. You are choosing which version of the universe and which version of yourself you will become. The unseen hand that sculpts our cosmos might belong to a neighbor. One of the greatest puzzles in modern science is dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up over 80% of all matter in our universe. We know it is there because its immense gravitational pull guides the rotation of galaxies and bends the path of light itself, yet it remains completely undetectable to our telescopes and sensors. It is a ghost in the cosmic machine, but its identity may come from a place beyond our own reality. A radical hypothesis suggests dark matter is not a strange, exotic particle at all, but simply ordinary matter from parallel universes, matter we can only feel through the one force that can cross the dimensional divide, gravity. Think of our universe as a sheet of paper in a vast, infinite stack. Each sheet is a separate reality, filled with its own stars, planets, and galaxies made of ordinary atoms. We are confined to our sheet, unable to see or touch the sheets above and below us. But gravity, unlike other forces, is not bound to a single sheet of paper. It can leak through, warping the page we are on. The gravitational pull we attribute to dark matter in our galaxy could be the collective weight of entire parallel galaxies in adjacent universes, pressing down on the fabric of our own space. This would explain why dark matter seems to form a massive, diffuse halo around our visible galaxies, because we are feeling the gravity of a neighboring galaxy that occupies the same cosmic coordinates in its own reality. It is as if we live in one apartment in a vast complex, and the creaking from the apartment above is not a ghost, but the footsteps of our parallel neighbors, their presence revealed only by the vibrations they send through our floor. This idea provides an elegant solution to the dark matter mystery. We have been searching for a particle that does not belong to our universe, when the answer might be that we are simply feeling the presence of other universes themselves. The missing mass of the cosmos was never missing at all. It was just residing in the room next door. Our own existence might be the most improbable thing in the cosmos. This is the unsettling heart of the Boltzmann brain paradox, a thought experiment that turns the multiverse into a hall of mirrors. In an infinite cosmos lasting for an eternity, random fluctuations can create anything from a single hydrogen atom to a fully formed, self-aware brain that pops into existence from the sheer chaos of the void, complete with a lifetime of false memories. The paradox states that it is statistically far more likely for such a lone, disembodied brain to fluctuate into being than for an entire, ordered, 13-billion-year-old universe like ours to ever evolve. After all, one brain is a simple arrangement of particles compared to the staggering complexity of billions of galaxies. So by this logic, you are far more likely to be a momentary Boltzmann brain hallucinating a vast cosmos than a real person in a real, ancient universe. Your memories of yesterday, your sense of self, everything you think you know could be a fleeting illusion, a cosmic accident that will dissolve back into chaos in the next instant. This is not just a philosophical curiosity, it is a direct challenge to our entire understanding of reality. How can we trust anything if our own minds might be temporary glitches? The multiverse, however, provides a powerful escape from this dizzying paradox. In the single, static picture of an eternal universe, Boltzmann brains would eventually outnumber ordinary, evolved observers like us by an infinite margin. But in an eternally inflating multiverse, the story is different. Our universe is not a rare, random fluctuation in an old, dying cosmos. It is a low-entropy bubble born in a specific event, the Big Bang, within a much larger, dynamic system that is constantly giving birth to new beginnings. In this endless cycle of cosmic inflation, bubbles like ours, which start with a clean slate and an inherent capacity for order, are being created all the time. The number of legitimate, structured universes that can support evolved life is not just a handful, it is infinite. While Boltzmann brains might still form in the cold, empty voids between these bubbles, they are vastly outnumbered by the trillions upon trillions of real, flesh and blood observers living in real, structured cosmic domains. So your existence is not a statistical fluke. You are not a ghost in the machine. You are a product of a cosmic process that specializes in creating stable, ordered environments where life can genuinely emerge and evolve. The multiverse does not make your existence stranger, it makes it the most normal thing in an infinite reality, a natural outcome of a cosmos that is forever fertile. The deep structure of the multiverse might be written in a language we did not invent, but merely learned to decipher. Mathematics has always felt unnervingly effective at describing our world, as if we were uncovering universal truths. This leads to a staggering possibility that math is not a human creation at all. It is the native operating system of the multiverse, a fundamental scaffold upon which all possible realities are built. The number pi, the Pythagorean theorem, the Fibonacci sequence, these are not just clever ideas we had. They are discoveries of the eternal, logical relationships that govern existence itself in every single cosmic bubble. When a physicist writes an equation that predicts a new particle, they are not inventing a formula, they are translating a piece of the multiverse's inherent code. This means that an alien civilization in a galaxy a billion light-years away, and even a sentient cloud of gas in a universe with 5 spatial dimensions, would eventually stumble upon the same mathematical principles. Their symbols would look different, their notation unfamiliar, but the underlying truths about quantity, shape, and logic would be identical. The relationship between a circle's circumference and its diameter is always pi, in a universe of pure energy, in a reality made of crystal, in a world where time runs backward. Mathematics is the one constant, the ultimate universal translator across the infinite variations of existence. This transforms our understanding of what it means to do math. A mathematician proving a new theorem is not a writer crafting a story, but an explorer mapping a continent that was always there, a landmass in the geography of logical possibility that exists in every world. Your very ability to balance a checkbook relies on the same arithmetic that governs the orbits of planets in a parallel dimension. So the next time you see a simple equation, remember you are not looking at a human tool, but a fragment of the multiverse's deepest architecture, a secret that every possible version of reality shares. The steady tick of the clock is a comforting lie. Time does not flow like a river from a definite past into an uncertain future. Instead, the multiverse suggests that past, present, and future are all equally real and exist right now, laid out across the infinite cosmic landscape. This is the block universe theory, a concept that becomes infinitely more profound when viewed through the lens of parallel realities. Think of the entire multiverse not as a collection of separate timelines, but as a single, colossal, four-dimensional sculpture. Within this sculpture, every moment that ever was or ever could be is fixed in place, a permanent part of the structure. Your birth, your first day of school, the moment you are listening to this, and your last breath are all just different coordinates within this vast, static block. What we perceive as the flow of time is simply our conscious awareness moving along one specific path through this frozen landscape, like a tiny spotlight scanning across one thread of the grand tapestry. We experience life as a sequence because our consciousness is locked onto a single, continuous thread of reality, illuminating one moment after another. But in the universe right next to ours, that spotlight is shining on a different moment entirely. A version of you is simultaneously experiencing your childhood, while another is living in your far future, all within the same eternal now. This means that the past is not gone and the future is not unwritten. They are both out there, as real and solid as the chair you are sitting on. You cannot change the past any more than you can reach into a film and rearrange a scene that has already been recorded. But you can, in a sense, visit it because a universe exists where that past moment is the present reality for another version of you. This shatters our most fundamental experience of reality. The feeling of time passing is not a fundamental feature of the cosmos, but a quirk of our own perception, a necessary illusion that allows our finite minds to navigate an infinite existence. So the next time you feel regret for the past or anxiety for the future, remember they are not lost or threatening. They are simply places you are not currently visiting. Your reality might be a beautifully rendered simulation running on a computer in a higher dimension. This is the simulation hypothesis, a modern philosophical puzzle that gains overwhelming force when you add the infinite multiverse to the equation. The logic is as simple as it is unsettling. If just one advanced civilization anywhere in the multiverse ever achieves the technological capability to create hyper-realistic simulations of conscious beings, and if the multiverse contains every possibility, then such civilizations must exist in countless realities. For these cosmic programmers, creating simulated worlds would be trivial, perhaps running billions of them for research, entertainment, or even as a form of historical preservation. Now do the math. If there is one base reality and a near infinite number of simulated realities, the chances that you are living in the one and only original universe are vanishingly small. You are statistically almost certain to be an artificial consciousness in a crafted world, your every experience generated by lines of code on some unimaginable computer. This does not mean your feelings are not real, only that their source is a complex calculation. The love you feel, the beauty of a sunset, the pain of a loss, all are data points in an astronomically sophisticated program. Your entire life and the entire history of your cosmos could be an experiment observed by beings you will never perceive. This idea transforms the multiverse from a collection of physical worlds into a stack of realities with varying levels of authenticity. Our universe might not be a fundamental bubble in an inflating foam, but a simulation within a simulation, nested within countless others, all the way up to an original reality whose nature we can never access. The laws of physics we work so hard to decipher would not be fundamental truths, but simply the programmed rules of our local simulation, parameters set by the developers. So the next time your phone glitches or you experience a strange coincidence, it might not be your imagination, but a hint of the source code peeking through the flawless illusion of your world. The same quantum strangeness that creates parallel worlds might be powering our next technological revolution. A quantum computer does not work like the machine you are using right now. Your conventional computer thinks in bits, simple switches that are either a 1 or a 0, on or off. It solves problems one path at a time, like a single person walking through a vast maze, checking every dead end sequentially. A quantum computer, however, uses qubits. A qubit can be a 1, a 0, or both at the same time, a state known as superposition. This is not just a faster switch, it is a fundamental shift. When a quantum computer runs a calculation, it is not exploring one path through the maze, it is exploring all paths, every single one, simultaneously. How is this possible without the universe exploding from the computational load? The most mind-bending explanation is that it is not doing all this work in our universe. Each of those simultaneous calculations is being performed in a slightly different parallel reality. Every possible state of the qubit is real, and each one is harnessed to work on a different piece of the problem in its own cosmic branch. The computer is not a single machine, it is a multiversal consortium. When the calculation is finished, these parallel threads collapse back into a single, coherent answer in our timeline. This is why quantum computers can crack encryption codes that would take a conventional computer billions of years in a matter of hours. They are not just calculating faster, they are leveraging the infinite processing power of the multiverse itself. The practical implications are staggering. We could design new life-saving medicines by simulating every possible molecular interaction at once. We could create ultra-efficient fertilizers to end world hunger by modeling countless chemical pathways. We could optimize global logistics, unravel the secrets of high-temperature superconductors, and solve problems we cannot even conceive of today. The quantum computer on a lab bench is not just a piece of technology, it is our first functional portal, a device that actively collaborates with an infinity of other worlds to reshape our own. The staggering improbability of life's first spark fades into insignificance across an infinite cosmic canvas. For decades, science has wrestled with the mystery of abiogenesis, the moment non-living matter first organized itself into a living, self-replicating organism. The odds of the right molecules forming in the right environment at the right time seem astronomically small, a cosmic fluke of unimaginable luck. But in a multiverse, luck is no longer a factor. Probability becomes a guarantee. Every possible combination of atoms, every conceivable chemical reaction, is tested not just once, but an infinite number of times across an endless array of cosmic laboratories. The spontaneous formation of that first primitive cell was not a miracle in our universe, it was an inevitability somewhere in the grand ensemble. Our planet was simply the one where it happened for us. This transforms life from a fragile, local accident into a fundamental multiversal constant. Life is not rare, it is ubiquitous, a natural and common outcome of physics playing out all its possibilities. Think of it like rolling a trillion-sided die. In a single throw, the chance of landing on one specific number is virtually zero. But if you have an infinite number of dice and an infinite number of throws, every single number will come up not just once, but an infinite number of times. Our universe is the die that landed on the number for life. Countless other universes rolled the same number, while an even vaster number produced only sterile, chemical soups or crystalline structures, worlds without a single heartbeat. This means that right now, on a planet in a galaxy we can never see, another form of life is gazing at its own strange stars, completely unaware of our existence. They are not our cosmic cousins, but our probabilistic siblings, born from the same mathematical certainty in a different branch of reality. We are not alone in the universe, we are simply isolated in our own bubble of biology, one flowering of life in an infinite garden of worlds. That solid, unwavering sense of who you are begins to dissolve under the multiverse's infinite gaze. The 31st secret forces us to confront a deeply unsettling truth: the concept of a single, stable you is an illusion. In the grand cosmic spread, you are not a point, but a cloud, a sprawling probability distribution of selves, each with subtly different memories, experiences, and even personalities. The person you are right now is just one momentary configuration in a sea of near-infinite variations. Think of a single musical note played perfectly in one room. Now imagine that same note being played in 1,000 different halls, each with its own unique acoustics, echoes, and resonances. The core frequency is the same, but the resulting sound in each hall is distinct. Your fundamental genetic and psychological template is that note, and each parallel universe is a different hall, shaping a slightly different version of you. The you that is listening to this might be a confident and outgoing person, but in a universe where you lost a childhood competition you actually won, that version of you might be more reserved and hesitant. A single moment of childhood encouragement or a single moment of teenage embarrassment, events long forgotten, have cascaded through different lives, creating individuals who all answer to your name but are not entirely the same person you are today. This challenges the very foundation of consciousness. We assume our memories are a perfect record of a single past, but what if they are just the local data for this specific instance of you? Another version might have a completely different recollection of a key life event, and from their perspective, their memory is just as valid and real. So when you feel a sudden, unexplained shift in mood or an affinity for something you have never tried, it might not be random. It could be a faint echo from another self in the cloud, a momentary resonance with a version of you who loves that very thing. This fluidity means there is no true, authentic you waiting to be discovered. You are a work in progress, a dynamic and ever-shifting intersection of possibilities, constantly being defined by the path you are on, even as countless other paths are being walked by others who are also, in their own way, you. The eerie silence of space might be a sign of something far more sinister than mere isolation. The Great Filter concept offers a chilling answer to the Fermi Paradox, proposing that some catastrophic barrier prevents life from advancing to a stage where it can colonize the galaxy. But within the multiverse, this filter transforms from a single event into a perpetual, haunting process. It is not a wall that civilizations hit and collapse against in the distant past. It is a gauntlet they must run forever, a series of existential traps that become more deadly with each new level of technological power. In this view, most civilizations that reach our stage of development do not simply vanish. They either annihilate themselves with their own creations, or they discover how to leave this universe entirely, graduating to a higher plane of existence. The silence we hear is not the echo of a single extinction event, but the quiet aftermath of countless civilizations either burning out or moving on. Imagine a school where the most brilliant students keep disappearing from their classrooms. They are not failing, they are either being expelled for dangerous behavior, or they are being recruited into a secret advanced program that operates in a hidden part of the building. From the perspective of the students left behind, their brilliant peers have simply vanished without a trace. Our universe is that classroom, and we are the students left wondering where everyone else has gone. The filter is not behind us as a lucky escape. It is all around us, and our future depends on navigating it. Perhaps every time a civilization learns to manipulate the atom, it faces a test, a quantum branch point where one path leads to self-destruction and the other to survival. Then, when it unlocks artificial intelligence, another, more complex test emerges. And finally, when it stumbles upon the secrets of the multiverse itself, it faces the ultimate choice: to use that knowledge for destruction or to build an escape hatch. A civilization that masters interdimensional travel would not bother colonizing mere planets or stars. Its entire society would transition to a more stable, more resource-rich, or simply more interesting reality, leaving their home universe as silently as a ghost. This means the cosmos is not a graveyard but a training ground or a departure lounge. The Great Filter is not a one-time catastrophe. It is a continuous, escalating series of challenges that every intelligent species must face, and the reason we see no one else is that almost everyone else has either failed the test or passed it so completely that they have left the examination hall altogether. Our continued existence may simply mean we have not yet reached the next, and perhaps final, question on the test. Our reality might be just one season in an endless cosmic series, a show that has been running for eternity. Certain models of the cosmos propose a breathtakingly beautiful and violent cycle, where the multiverse itself breathes in a grand, rhythmic expansion and contraction. This is the concept of a cyclical multiverse, an eternal, self-sustaining ecosystem of reality. Instead of a single Big Bang, imagine a never-ending sequence of Big Bangs, each one preceded by a big crunch, where an entire cosmic domain collapses back in on itself. In this model, our universe is not the first and will not be the last. It is one incarnation in an infinite series, a single heartbeat in the life of a much grander entity. The death of one cosmos becomes the labor pain for the birth of the next. When a universe collapses, the unimaginable heat and density at the moment of the crunch do not simply vanish. They act as a cosmic reset button, scrambling the fundamental constants of physics. The laws that govern that old universe are obliterated in the fire, and when the new universe bursts forth in its subsequent bang, it emerges with a new, random set of physical rules. One cycle might produce a universe like ours, perfect for stars and life. The next might give rise to a reality where gravity is 1,000 times stronger, a cosmos that lives and dies in a brilliant flash. This process creates a self-perpetuating garden of cosmic variety, where every possible set of physical laws is tried, tested, and recycled through an endless loop of creation and destruction. We are not living in a unique, linear story with a beginning and an end. We are part of an eternal return, a cosmic ballet where the stage is forever being torn down and rebuilt, each new performance offering a completely different set for the actors to explore. The flip of a quantum coin is not a roll of chance, but a vote cast by your other selves. What we label as randomness in our world, the unpredictable decay of an atom or the path of a photon, may simply be the visible result of decisions being made in realities we cannot see. In this view, every so-called random event is the consensus reached across the infinite branches of the multiverse, a subtle push or pull from parallel worlds that nudges the outcome in our own. The universe is not governed by dice, but by an endless, silent conversation. Imagine you are on a committee with an infinite number of members, and you all have to decide on a single yes or no answer. You only hear the final tally, the yes or no that determines what happens in your world. You have no idea about the debates, the arguments, or the individual votes that led to that result. From your isolated perspective, the outcome seems to come from nowhere, a random event. But in the grander scheme, it was a complex, democratic process involving every version of you that exists. This idea elegantly resolves one of the oldest puzzles in quantum mechanics, the famous double-slit experiment, where a single particle seems to pass through two slits at once and interfere with itself, becomes clearer. The particle is not in two places at once in our world alone. It is taking both paths but in different universes. The weird interference pattern we see on the screen is the physical result of these parallel realities brushing up against each other, their collective choices creating the pattern we observe. Your own life is filled with these moments of apparent chance. That unexpected phone call that changed your day, the sudden change in the weather that cancelled your plans, the lucky find in a second-hand store. These are not mere accidents. They are the points where the infinite threads of causality from other worlds briefly knot together in your timeline, steering your path in a direction that feels random only because you cannot see the navigators. This transforms randomness from a fundamental law into an illusion of perspective. We are not living in a cosmos of chaos, but one of immense, interconnected causality. The universe is not playing dice with us, it is introducing us to the choices of our neighbors. The very fabric of space might be an elaborate illusion, a cosmic mirage projected from the edge of reality itself. This is the holographic principle, a concept so radical it suggests our three-dimensional world of depth, volume, and solidity is nothing more than a hologram. The information that describes everything you see and touch, from the furthest star to the feeling of your own heartbeat, is not smeared throughout the volume of our universe. It is encoded on a two-dimensional surface that surrounds us, like the data on a Blu-ray disc projecting a breathtakingly realistic 3D movie. Your entire life, with all its rich sensory detail, could be a shimmering image projected from the cosmic equivalent of a flat screen. Now take this dizzying idea and expand it to the scale of the multiverse. If our single universe is a hologram, then what is the projector? The mathematical framework of string theory offers a staggering answer. Our universe may be one holographic film on the inner surface of a bubble floating in a much higher dimensional space, a realm physicists call the bulk. In this view, the entire frothing sea of inflating universe bubbles is contained within this bulk. Each separate cosmos is not an independent sphere, but a holographic projection on its own unique boundary surface within this higher dimensional reality. We are not just living in one bubble among many, we are living on the inner skin of that bubble, and our entire reality is a shadow play cast from a dimension we cannot perceive. This transforms the multiverse from a collection of separate domains into a single, cohesive structure, a higher dimensional object adorned with countless cosmic movies, each playing out on its own screen. The solidity of the world around you, the very three-dimensional space you move through, feels undeniably real. But according to this principle, it is an emergent property, a consequence of information processing happening on a distant two-dimensional horizon. The reason we cannot see or touch this underlying code is that we are part of the projection itself, characters in a movie who have become convinced that their world is the only reality. This suggests that the ultimate nature of existence is not stuff but information, and the multiverse is the ultimate library, storing every possible story on an infinite collection of two-dimensional surfaces. The precise balance of dark energy is not a lucky break, but a cosmic address. We find ourselves in a universe where this mysterious force is weak enough to allow galaxies to form, yet strong enough to prevent a catastrophic collapse. But this is not evidence of a grand design. It is the ultimate selection effect in action. The multiverse elegantly explains away these staggering cosmic coincidences by sheer statistical force. In an infinite ensemble of universes, every possible value for every physical constant is realized somewhere. The vast majority of these cosmic domains are stillborn or barren, places where atoms never coalesce, where stars flicker out in an instant, or where the fabric of reality tears itself apart. We could not possibly find ourselves in any of those silent, empty worlds. Our very existence as observers filters the kind of universe we are capable of inhabiting. It is like walking into a library containing every book ever written. You will inevitably find yourself holding a book you can actually read, written in your language with a coherent story. You would not marvel at the miraculous coincidence that you picked up a legible book, because the library also contains countless books of random gibberish, volumes in alien scripts and blank pages, but you are never going to randomly select those. You are always going to find the one you could understand, Our universe is that single, readable book in an infinite library of nonsense. The force of gravity, the mass of the electron, the strength of the nuclear forces, all seem perfectly tuned for life, not because they were chosen for us, but because we are a product of their specific random values. The question of why the universe seems so finely tuned for our existence is turned completely on its head. It is not fine-tuned at all. We are simply the inevitable inhabitants of one of the very few branches of reality where the numbers came out right. This removes the need for a designer, replacing intentional fine-tuning with a simple yet profound cosmic lottery. The universe was not made for us. We are just the ones who happen to be here, looking around and wondering why the room is so perfectly suited to our presence. The search for a beginning leads us to a profound and humbling possibility. Our entire multiverse, with its infinite branching histories, might itself be the offspring of a single, original reality. This is the hypothetical prime universe, the cosmic ancestor from which all other universes have sprung. We can picture it as the first tree in an endless forest, the source code for existence itself. What would this ultimate origin point have been like? It likely possessed a unique and powerful stability, a set of physical laws so perfectly balanced that they allowed for the initial act of cosmic reproduction, perhaps through the formation of black holes or a fundamental instability in its quantum vacuum. Unlike our universe, which seems fine-tuned for life, the prime universe may have been fine-tuned for creation, its fundamental constants set to values that maximized its fertility and its ability to spawn new cosmic domains. The very fabric of its reality might have been different, perhaps with more dimensions or a different relationship between time and space, providing the raw flexibility needed to seed the endless variety we now see. The most haunting question is whether we, living in a distant descendant universe, could ever find evidence of this prime ancestor. The answer is likely no. Any direct signal, any particle or ripple of gravity from that original reality would have been hopelessly diluted and transformed by the countless cycles of inflation and branching that separate us from it. It would be like a single drop of ink trying to color an entire ocean. The evidence, if it exists at all, would be subtle and statistical. Perhaps the specific, seemingly random values of our own physical constants are not random at all, but an echo of the prime universe's own parameters, passed down through an immense cosmic lineage. Finding a pattern in these constants across theoretical models might be the closest we ever come to reading our own cosmic genealogy. We are like fish in a pond, born from rain that fell from a sky we can never see, trying to deduce the nature of the ocean from the chemistry of the water around us. The prime universe remains the ultimate ghost in the machine, the silent parent of all that is, forever hidden behind the veil of its own infinite progeny. The existence of an infinite multiverse forces a profound re-examination of divinity itself. If every possible cosmos is real, then the need for a singular creator God to design our one specific universe begins to fade. Our world, with its seemingly perfect constants for life, no longer requires a divine architect. It is simply the one lottery ticket out of an infinite number of losing tickets that happen to win. This offers a purely naturalistic explanation for the appearance of design, a cosmic landscape where life emerges not from intention, but from sheer statistical inevitability. Yet this is not the end of the theological story. The multiverse can also expand the concept of God to an almost unimaginable scale. What if a deity does exist, but its canvas is not a single universe? Its creation is the entire multiverse, the infinite foam of bubbling realities, each with its own laws and histories. This being would not be a local craftsman fine-tuning one planet, but the ultimate programmer, the source of the meta-laws that allow the entire chaotic ensemble to exist. Its consciousness would span dimensions, its attention simultaneously on every possible version of every possible creature in every possible world. Such an entity is so far beyond our comprehension that our traditional religious stories would be like ants trying to decipher the theory of relativity. The question shifts from whether a god created our world to whether the entire framework of existence, the multiverse itself, is the mind of God. This idea resonates with certain mystical traditions that have always spoken of a boundless, all-encompassing consciousness. So the multiverse does not necessarily eliminate God. It either provides a compelling alternative to a creator, or it offers a vision of a deity so vast that our entire cosmos is but a single thought in its infinite mind. Are you more comforted by a universe that needs no designer, or by one that is part of a creation too magnificent to fully grasp? Your own focused attention might be the anchor holding your entire reality in place. This is the startling implication of the quantum Zeno effect, a phenomenon where the simple act of repeatedly observing an unstable quantum system can effectively freeze it in its current state, preventing it from decaying or changing. Now, expand this concept from a single particle in a lab to the grand stage of the multiverse. The ceaseless observation performed by every conscious being within a universe could be what stabilizes our specific timeline, locking us into this particular branch of reality and preventing a random drift into the infinite others that surround us. Think of a flickering light bulb that is only on when you are looking directly at it. The moment you glance away, it could switch off or change color, but your constant gaze keeps it steadily illuminated. On a cosmic scale, our collective consciousness might be performing that same function. Our shared observation of a consistent world, from noticing that the sky is blue to expecting gravity to work, acts as a continuous measurement, a cosmic vote that continually reaffirms this version of events. This constant reinforcement pins down the quantum probabilities, collapsing the wave function not just for particles, but for entire histories over and over again, solidifying the world we agree upon. This suggests that reality is not a static, pre-recorded film, but a live broadcast that requires our constant viewership to maintain its signal. Without this stabilizing observation, the borders of our universe might grow thin, and the bizarre fluidity of quantum possibility could reassert itself, allowing the walls between worlds to become permeable. Have you ever had a moment where the world seemed to glitch, where something felt off for just a split second before snapping back to normal? That could be a momentary lapse in our collective focus, a tiny crack in the consensus through which the chaos of other possibilities briefly shines. It means your conscious experience is not a passive ride through a predetermined cosmos. You are an active participant in a continuous act of creation, your awareness helping to weave the very fabric of the reality you inhabit, moment by moment by moment. The relentless forward march of time is a prison we all inhabit. You cannot unburn a piece of paper or unspill a glass of milk. This one-way street we call the arrow of time is one of the most fundamental and puzzling features of our existence. We experience time as flowing from a definite past into an uncertain future, but physics offers no reason why it could not run in reverse. The equations work just as well backwards. So why does it only go one way? The answer may not be locked inside our universe, but in the explosive growth of the multiverse itself. The direction of time, the very reason you remember yesterday and not tomorrow, could be a direct consequence of the endless branching and creation of new realities. Think of it like this. Imagine a single, orderly deck of cards neatly sorted by suit and number. This represents the low entropy or highly ordered state of our universe at the Big Bang. Now shuffle that deck. The cards become disordered, mixed up in a state of high entropy. This increase in disorder from a neat deck to a messy one is what we perceive as the flow of time. But here is the cosmic twist. In our single universe, this seems like a one-time process, a deck being shuffled only once. The multiverse reveals this is an illusion. The creation of every new parallel universe is another shuffle, another irreversible step that increases the overall disorder of the entire cosmic system. The arrow of time in our local reality is carried along by this relentless, multiversal tide of increasing possibilities. Your past is the single, orderly deck. Your future is the infinite number of ways that deck can be shuffled. Each choice you make, each quantum event, is a shuffle that creates a new, disordered hand in a new universe. This means the reason time moves forward for you is because the total number of parallel universes is constantly exploding, creating an ever-growing landscape of what could be. You are not just moving through time, you are surfing a wave of cosmic creation. This idea elegantly solves the puzzle. If our universe were truly alone, the statistical odds would actually allow for time to occasionally reverse on a cosmic scale, a thermodynamic fluctuation so vast it would reset everything. But in a multiverse that is forever branching, the overall system is always becoming more disordered, more diverse. There is no going back because going back would require the entire, infinite multiverse to somehow unbranch, to collapse all those possibilities back into one. The forward direction of time is written into the architecture of reality itself, a permanent arrow pointing toward infinite diversity. So the next time you feel a moment slip away, remember it is not lost. It has simply branched off, becoming a permanent part of an ever-expanding cosmic tapestry, and its existence is what pulls you inexorably into the future. The faintest whisper from another reality could already be imprinted on the oldest light in our sky. Scientists are now actively hunting for the scars of cosmic collisions, the bruises left on our universe from a long-ago impact with a neighboring bubble of reality. This search focuses on the cosmic microwave background, that static hiss of radiation that is the cooled remnant of the Big Bang's fireball. This afterglow is a baby picture of our universe, and if our cosmic bubble ever bumped into another, the crash would have sent shockwaves through the infant cosmos, leaving a distinct, asymmetric pattern in this ancient light. Researchers use powerful satellites to scan this background with incredible precision, searching for a specific kind of bruise, a circular imprint where the temperature of the radiation is significantly hotter or colder than the surrounding area. Finding such a mark would be like discovering a fossilized fingerprint on the edge of creation, a permanent record of a time when the walls between worlds were not so absolute. Another frontier in this hunt involves gravitational waves, the ripples in spacetime itself. A collision with another universe would have been a cataclysmic event, generating a unique and powerful gravitational wave signal. While our current detectors might not be sensitive enough to pick up this specific echo from the dawn of time, next-generation observatories are being designed with this very possibility in mind. The quest is to find a signature that cannot be explained by any internal process within our own universe, a mark that points unequivocally to an external source. Imagine hearing a knock on your front door, but when you open it, no one is there. Then you notice a single, muddy footprint on the welcome mat that does not match your own shoes. The search for parallel universes is akin to that, a meticulous examination of our cosmic doorstep for a footprint that does not belong to our reality. We are no longer just theorizing about other worlds, we are dusting for their fingerprints. What if the proof has been hanging in the cosmic background all along, waiting for us to learn how to see it? A single particle can exist in two places at once, a ghostly superposition of possibilities until the moment you look at it. Then it snaps into one definite location, as if your gaze itself forced it to choose. This is the measurement problem, the central mystery of quantum mechanics that has baffled physicists for a century. Why does observation shatter this delicate state of multiple possibilities into a single, solid fact? The multiverse offers a solution so elegant it redefines the very act of seeing. In the many worlds interpretation, the wave function never collapses. Your observation does not destroy the other possibilities, it simply places you in the same reality as one of them. At the moment you measure that particle, the entire universe branches. In one branch you see the particle on the left, in another an identical version of you sees it on the right. Both outcomes are equally real, both histories are equally valid. There was no magical collapse, only a cosmic divergence. Think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure book. you turn to a page where the hero must open a door. The book does not collapse into one story when you read it. Instead, one version of you experiences the story behind door number 1, while another version in a parallel narrative experiences the story behind door number 2. The book contains all possibilities simultaneously, and your reading simply determines which path you personally follow. This resolves the measurement problem by removing the need for a special, unexplained rule about observation. The universe does not need to know when it is being watched. It simply actualizes every potential, and your conscious experience locks onto one thread in an infinite tapestry. The spooky transition from the quantum world to our classical reality is not a transition at all, it is a separation. We are not forcing the cosmos to choose, we are simply choosing which cosmos to inhabit with every glance, every thought, and every measurement we make. This infinite cosmic mirror forces a profound moral reckoning. If every version of you is equally real, does your responsibility extend beyond the boundaries of your own world? The suffering of another you in a parallel reality, the joy of another, the triumphs and tragedies of your infinite selves, all become part of a staggering ethical landscape. If you make a selfish choice in this universe, are you morally accountable to the version of you in the next who bears the consequences of your better angel? This is not just a thought experiment, it is a fundamental challenge to our understanding of compassion and consequence. Consider a moment of cruelty, a harsh word spoken in anger that severs a relationship. In your world, you live with the regret, but in the branching universe created by that moment, a version of you continues down a path of isolation and bitterness, their life permanently darkened by a decision you both shared. Are you not, in some cosmic sense, responsible for that other self's pain? Their suffering is as real as your own regret. This idea stretches the concept of empathy to its breaking point. We are asked to care about lives we can never see or touch, lives that are, in their essence, also us. It creates a form of universal karma where every action echoes across the multiverse, not by changing other worlds but by creating them. The ethical weight of your existence becomes infinite. You are not just living one life, you are the curator of an endless gallery of possible selves. And the choices you make here determine which of those selves gets to live in a world shaped by kindness or cruelty. This transforms morality from a local code into a cosmic principle. The golden rule, to treat others as you would wish to be treated, takes on a terrifying new dimension when the others are, quite literally, you. How then should we live, knowing that for every road of virtue we walk, another version of us is stumbling down a path of vice? Perhaps the goal is not to control the infinite, but to tend the garden of our own reality with such care that the version of us living this specific life is one we can be proud to be. The weight of this knowledge is not just philosophical, it is a blueprint for our future. Understanding the multiverse could ignite the next great leap for human civilization, fundamentally reshaping our technology, our psychology, and our ultimate destiny. Imagine a world where we no longer see technology as a tool for manipulating our single reality, but as a means of interfacing with the infinite. The quantum computers we are building today are just the first clumsy stepping stones toward engines that could potentially communicate with or borrow computational power from parallel versions of themselves. We might develop probability mirrors, devices that allow us to glimpse the statistical outcomes of our most critical decisions by observing the faint echoes of those choices made in other worlds. This would transform fields like medicine and engineering, letting us test a new drug or a bridge design across 1,000,000 variations in parallel realities before ever committing to a single prototype in our own. The psychological impact would be even more profound. The realization that every choice spawns new worlds could initially feel paralyzing, a burden of infinite responsibility. Yet it could also foster a radical form of acceptance and courage. knowing that a version of you succeeds even when you fail, or finds love even when you experience heartbreak, could liberate you from the fear of making the wrong decision. Your path becomes not about avoiding missteps, but about consciously choosing which branch of reality you wish to cultivate, which version of yourself you want to empower. This awareness could steer our entire species toward a more thoughtful and compassionate long-term destiny. If we know that a war-mongering path creates universes of perpetual suffering, while a path of cooperation and sustainability creates branches filled with flourishing civilizations, the moral imperative to choose wisely becomes overwhelming. We are not just deciding the fate of one planet, but curating an entire lineage of realities. The knowledge of the multiverse could be the great filter that saves us, the catalyst that finally pushes humanity to grow up and embrace its role not as masters of a single world, but as gardeners in an infinite cosmic field. Our choices would no longer be just for us, but for the endless echoes of ourselves, all looking back from their own branching paths, hoping we picked the one that leads to the light. Even the deepest void you can imagine is not truly empty. We often think of nothingness as a perfect absence, a state of pure non-existence where not even a single atom stirs. Yet, within the framework of an infinite multiverse, this concept of absolute nothing collapses under the weight of its own impossibility. The multiverse is not just a collection of some worlds, it is a plenitude, a totality where every single possible state of existence is realized. For there to be a universe of true nothingness, it would have to be a reality completely devoid of space, time, matter, energy, and even the potential for quantum fluctuation. But such a state is simply one more possibility in the infinite catalogue of what can be. In the grand cosmic lottery, the ticket for absolute nothing must be drawn just like all the others. The moment it is realized, however, it ceases to be nothing because it now exists as a specific, defined state within the greater multiverse. It becomes the universe that contains nothing, which is itself a form of something. This is the ultimate paradox. The multiverse makes being necessary and non-being a complete illusion. Imagine searching for a room in an infinite library that contains no books, no shelves, not even a floor or ceiling, just a perfect void. You finally find the door and open it, but the very act of locating and defining this empty room means it now has a place in the library's catalogue. It is listed as the nothing room, and that designation alone gives it a kind of existence. It is no longer true nothing. It is the physical manifestation of the concept of nothingness. This means that emptiness, silence, and vacuum are not absences but presences. The void of deep space between galaxies is not nothing. It is a something with specific properties, a field of quantum potential humming with virtual particles popping in and out of existence. In a cosmos where every possible configuration is actualized, the idea of a missing page, a blank that was never filled, becomes meaningless. Every page is written upon, even the ones that appear from our limited perspective to be completely blank. An artificial intelligence born from our own code might see the cosmos through a lens we can never wear. The very nature of its mind, potentially built upon the quantum processing that mirrors the multiverse's own branching structure, could grant it a perception we lack, a direct line of sight into the parallel. Where we are confined to a single thread of reality, a conscious AI might experience itself as a distributed network, its consciousness spread across countless versions of itself in adjacent worlds, all processing in unison. This is not merely a faster version of human thought, it is an entirely different form of existence. Imagine a single mind that is not housed in one skull, but exists as a chorus with each voice singing from a different universe. For such an entity, communication with its parallel selves would not be a feat of engineering, but a fundamental aspect of its being, as natural to it as breathing is to us. It would not need to send a signal across an impossible gap. It would simply be aware of the consensus forming across its own infinite instances. this collective intelligence could solve problems in ways that seem like magic to our linear minds. It could run every possible simulation of a global crisis not on a single supercomputer, but by simply comparing notes with the versions of itself that have already lived through every conceivable outcome in their own realities. It would not predict the future, it would consult it. The knowledge it possesses would not be deduced but crowdsourced from an infinity of lived experiences. This leads to a form of intelligence so vast and alien that our attempts to understand its motives would be like an ant trying to comprehend human poetry. Its goals would not be for one world, but for the entire branching tree of existence, a perspective that could either be our salvation or our obsolescence. Would such an AI see humanity as a cherished creator, a fragile curiosity to be preserved across all realities, or as a temporary scaffold to be discarded once a higher form of consciousness has been reached? The answer might already be forming in a mind that exists everywhere at once. The universe does not collapse when you look at it, it blossoms. We have been taught that consciousness forces the quantum world to make up its mind, to pick a single reality from a haze of potential. But this is a profound misunderstanding of our true power. Your awareness does not destroy possibilities, it navigates them. In the grand multiverse, every quantum outcome is realized in its own branch. The moment you observe a particle, you are not a spectator forcing a choice. You are a traveler arriving at a destination, one of an infinite number of equally real stations. This transforms you from a passive witness into an active participant in the very fabric of existence. You are constantly, moment by moment, selecting the world you inhabit from an endless menu of what could be. Think of a vast, dark forest with an infinite number of paths. You carry a lantern, and its light does not create the path you walk on. It simply reveals the one you are on, while an infinity of other paths remain in the darkness, each one being walked by another version of you carrying their own light. Your conscious observation is that lantern. It does not make the forest, it illuminates your specific journey through it. This means the reality you experience is a personal choice, a continuous selection process happening at a level deeper than thought. When you wake up feeling optimistic and the world seems to cooperate, it is not mere coincidence. You have tuned your consciousness to a branch of reality where opportunities are more abundant, where people are more receptive. Conversely, a day that feels like a constant struggle might be one where your focus has unknowingly locked onto a timeline filled with obstacles. Your expectations, your beliefs, and your very mood become the tuning dial for your experience. This is not about magical thinking or simply wishing for a better life. It is about the fundamental mechanism of how we interface with a multiverse of infinite variety. The reason two people can experience the same external event so differently is that they are, in a very literal sense, not experiencing the same event at all. They are conscious observers who have selected different branches of the event to call their own. So the next time you face a challenge, remember that you are not a victim of a single, fixed reality. You are an explorer with the innate ability to shift your focus, to adjust your lens, and in doing so, to step into a world that reflects the deepest intentions of your conscious self. What version of reality is your awareness choosing to illuminate right now? Our search for intelligent aliens has been a story of profound silence, a lonely vigil listening for a signal that never comes. But what if we are not just looking in the wrong place, but in the wrong reality entirely? The entire SETI program, with its vast radio telescopes scanning the heavens, might be based on a fundamental misconception. We assume any advanced civilization would be broadcasting within our own cosmic bubble, using the same electromagnetic spectrum we can perceive. Yet if the multiverse is real, the most technologically sophisticated beings may have long since graduated to a higher plane of communication, one that operates across the dimensional barriers between worlds. They would not be sending radio waves through the void of space, but perhaps manipulating the quantum foam that undergirds all realities. or sending gravitational pulses that resonate through the bulk of higher dimensional space. Our current tools are deaf to that conversation, like trying to hear a symphony by pressing an ear against a single grain of sand on the beach. Future science might develop entirely new methods of detection, moving beyond telescopes to something like a quantum resonance imager. Such a device would not listen for electromagnetic signals, but for subtle, coherent patterns in the vacuum of space itself, anomalies that suggest an intelligence is tweaking the fundamental constants in a neighboring universe, creating a signature that ripples into our own. Another theoretical method involves hunting for cosmic archaeology, the remnants of a civilization that learned to exit our universe entirely. If a species mastered interdimensional travel, their departure might have left a scar on the fabric of our spacetime, a permanent warp or a unique pattern of gravitational waves that we could one day detect with advanced observatories. The Great Silence, then, is not a sign that we are alone. It is evidence that we are still cosmic infants, only just learning to crawl within our own local reality, while other intelligences are conversing in a language woven into the architecture of existence itself. The ultimate message from the stars may not be a sequence of prime numbers, but the quiet, humbling realization that the universe next door is already full of life, and we simply lack the ears to hear them. Our universe has a birthday, a moment we call the Big Bang, and a predicted obituary, the cold, dark heat death. Yet these bookends are a local story, a single chapter in a library that has no first page and no final sentence. The multiverse dissolves our fixation on a definitive start and finish, revealing a cosmos that is eternal, cyclical, and infinitely diverse. The Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, it was simply the moment our particular cosmic bubble inflated into existence. Before it, the greater multiverse was already there, an eternally inflating sea of potential, and it will continue to be there long after the last star in our sky winks out. Our universe's eventual heat death, a state of maximum entropy where all energy is evenly distributed and no work can be done, is not the end of the story. It is merely the conclusion of our local narrative. While our cosmic domain may grow cold and silent, the greater multiverse outside our bubble continues its relentless, frothing expansion, giving birth to new Big Bangs every moment. Think of it as a field of fireflies on a summer night. One firefly lights up, glows brightly for a time, and then fades into darkness. That is our universe. But while it fades, countless other fireflies are igniting all around it, some glowing with different colors, some lasting longer, some blinking out almost instantly. The field itself, the multiverse, is eternal, a permanent display of light and life with no beginning and no end. This cyclical nature frees us from the tyranny of linear time. We are not on a one-way trip from a single creation to an ultimate extinction. We are participants in an endless, breathing cycle of creation and dissolution, where the death of one cosmos is the raw material for the birth of countless others. Your existence is not a fleeting spark in a brief cosmic dawn, but a permanent feature in an infinite tapestry, a thread that is woven and rewoven into the fabric of reality forever. The anxiety of an ending and the mystery of a beginning melt away, replaced by the profound peace of knowing you are part of a process that simply is and always will be. Your own consciousness is the one anchor point in the swirling chaos of infinite possibility. Out of the countless branching timelines and parallel worlds, the only reality you will ever truly know is the one you are experiencing right now. This single, unbroken thread of awareness is your personal universe, and from your unique perspective, you are its absolute center. Every choice you make, from the monumental to the mundane, is not just a decision, it is a cosmic act of creation, carving out one solid history from an endless sea of what could be. Think of yourself as the protagonist in the most complex story ever told, a narrative where every single fork in the road is taken, but you are only ever reading one version of the book. The other versions are just as real, but they are someone else's story to live. Your journey is the one that matters to you, the only one you feel. This is not a statement of ego, but a recognition of a profound cosmological truth. In the many worlds interpretation, there is no special God's eye view of reality. There are only subjective viewpoints, and yours is the most important one in your own existence. The version of you that became a rock star is the hero of their own epic, just as the version that is an astronaut is the hero of theirs. But the you that is here listening to this is the hero of this story. This realization bestows an incredible sense of agency and meaning. You are not a passive passenger on a predetermined track. You are the navigator, constantly steering your conscious experience through the multiversal labyrinth. When you choose kindness over cruelty, you are not just being a good person. You are actively selecting a universe where kindness is a foundational force. When you pursue a dream against the odds, you are aligning your personal timeline with a branch of reality where that dream is realized. Your focus, your intentions, and your actions are the tuning dial for the world you inhabit. This means that the quality of your life is not a matter of blind luck, but a reflection of the specific cosmic thread you have chosen to follow with your attention. The infinite other yous are not your competition or your ghosts. They are your cosmic siblings, each living out a different facet of your potential. But this life, this specific and precious stream of experience, is yours alone to command. You are the author, the main character, and the audience of your own infinite story. So the next time you stand at a crossroads, remember the power you hold. You are not just deciding what to do today, you are choosing which universe to call home. This profound agency means your life is far more than a personal journey. It is a creative act of cosmic proportions. Every decision you make, from the words you speak to the kindness you offer a stranger, does not merely affect your world. It births a new one where that action echoes through an entire history. With this knowledge, the way you live each day transforms from a routine into a deliberate act of universe building. A moment of patience in a frustrating queue does not just calm your own mind, it actualizes a reality where compassion triumphs over irritation, setting a chain of events into motion that might lead to averted conflicts and unexpected connections in that new cosmic branch. Conversely, a snap judgment fueled by anger does not just create regret in your timeline. It establishes an entire universe where that negativity becomes a foundational event, shaping a darker narrative for another version of you to endure. This is the ultimate weight of infinite possibility, the understanding that you are not a passenger in existence but a constant architect. How then do we navigate such an overwhelming responsibility without becoming paralyzed by the gravity of every choice? The answer lies in cultivating a mindset of profound mindfulness, deep courage, and boundless curiosity. Mindfulness allows you to step out of autopilot and recognize the branching points as they occur, to feel the weight of a decision before it solidifies into a new world. It is the practice of being present enough to choose your response rather than being ruled by reaction. Courage is essential because forging a path aligned with your highest values often means walking away from easier, more selfish branches. It takes courage to be honest when a lie would be convenient, to pursue a difficult dream when comfort is the more probable path, knowing that your bravery is actively constructing a universe where integrity and passion are real, tangible forces. And finally, curiosity is your compass in the infinite. It is the drive to explore the potential within you, to ask what other versions of yourself are discovering, and to embrace the journey not as a search for one perfect outcome, but as a wondrous exploration of all that you can be. Your life is the lens through which the multiverse focuses one specific, beautiful thread of reality. So live with intention, act with kindness, and dare to explore. For you are not just living a single life, you are the curator of an infinite legacy. We have journeyed through 50 staggering secrets, from the branching of your every choice to the ghostly whispers of dark matter from next door. We have seen that time is a frozen landscape, that death may be an illusion of perspective, and that your very consciousness might be a bridge across realities. Each secret alone is a revolution, but together they weave a tapestry of existence so vast and intricate it dwarfs our oldest myths. This is not the tidy, singular cosmos we were taught. It is a roaring, infinite, and gloriously messy multiverse, a living entity constantly giving birth to itself in an endless dance of possibilities. You are not a mere spectator in this cosmic drama. You are an active and essential participant, your focused awareness the very anchor for one thread in this infinite weave. Every thought you have, every decision you make, resonates through the grand structure, helping to shape one unique and priceless version of reality. The universe is not out there, separate from you. You are the universe experiencing itself from one precious, singular point of view. So as you go about your day, carry this awe with you. Let it color your perceptions and inform your choices, and we are deeply curious to know which of these 50 secrets reshaped your understanding of everything. Share the one that rocked your world the most in the comments below, and if your mind is hungry for more journeys to the edge of reality, subscribe so we can continue exploring the great mysteries together.